clothes. Like, on the outside, like, the Riddler looks completely normal. But on the inside, this man is a freaking genius, and an evil genius. And then there's the Joker, like, you know, he's just freaking insane and nuts and won't take no for an answer. And he always has a plan, like, that'll coexist with your plan. Like, you make something up, he's already one step ahead of you and has messed that plan up. And that's what I wanted to be. And where the stubborn angel went, she's gone, and now enter the pretty little psycho.
All right, so during that time frame, you know, because you've done quite a bit in the business for the short amount of time that you've been involved, and I definitely want to get into that, but just so we can touch on this, because we're going to stop at this point a few times throughout this conversation, on the topic of celebrity crushes. So, during the Stubborn Angel days, more than likely bleeding into the Pretty Little Psycho time, you have been a longtime fan of Boondock Saints, of The Walking Dead, more specifically of Norman Reedus, to a point where, if I'm not mistaken, you've actually been on, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you were on an episode of The Talking Dead. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was on an episode of The Talking Dead, and I've been a finalist in the Ultimate Fan Competition 3 years in a row.
So if we called Norman Reedus, or Sean Patrick Flannery for that matter, would they know you? Would they recognize the name? Would they know, oh yeah, we know her. We definitely know her. Because every convention we see her. So is it like that?
Well, I don't really look the same that I've looked the past few times that they've met me. Sean Patrick Flannery, yes, definitely. He would know because he's like my big brother. He gave me that final push to join the wrestling business. So he would definitely know who I am. Norman, on the other hand, hasn't seen me since I've lost all the weight, dyed my hair. I have met him multiple times, and I have yet to meet him where I've felt confident in, like, my body and my look. So, just one of these days when, you know, all this coronavirus is over and there's allowed to be conventions again, I plan on making that known to him.
Oh, good grief. Good grief. I know we'll talk about this later, but I know all too well of trying to protect not you, but the person you're chasing after when it comes to celebrity crushes and how it's damn near impossible. But I'm
a determined woman.
Determined is one way to put it. Obsessed may be another way, but you know, tomato, so it goes. But you talked about just a moment ago a change in your look over time, and you know, when you first broke in and started training in the wrestling industry, you know, not picking on you at all, but you were, you know, more of a shy, little bit of a nerdy gal. We're all kind of nerdy when we first get involved in wrestling. Let's be honest. But, you know, you had a kind of a completely different body type at that point in time. And to see you now, it's such a drastic difference. And I know you've put so much effort into this, but, you know, for anybody out there that's struggling, I actually had this conversation with Hooks on the episode of RadioDARK that he was on in regards to he had a massive weight loss that he went through and the steps that he took to get to that point, from the time where you could look at a picture of him as the commentator and the ring announcer to a current photo of him. You know, you'd recognize the beard, but if you just looked at his physique, I mean, it's a completely different guy. So for you, it's very much the same thing. You've had a drastic change. If you would be so kind for anybody out there listening, Shawna, you know, tell them what, you know, the process, what it took to get you from where you started to where you are now? Because not to say that you still weren't a lovely lady when you first started in wrestling, but obviously you'll agree that there's been a drastic change in your body type, your athleticism, the body fat percentage, the whole nine. Walk us through, how did you get from the beginning to now?
Well, first of all, I was extremely bullied in high school, and actually from 7th grade pretty much through my senior year of high school, I was, called the fat, ugly girl. I was told, I didn't even, deserve to look people in the eye. And, it was a bad, whole, school career for me. And, so going into wrestling, I was pretty much that exact same way, don't look somebody in the eye, just be quiet, let them, do whatever the heck they want to, or say what they want to you. So that was something you definitely, I had to overcome getting in the business. And I think what, drastically changed, my body type, getting in the business, working out and all the intense cardio and workout that wrestling really is, it helps you, you lose a lot of weight doing that, but, you end up plateauing, your body is okay, I'm just going to build muscle now, or I'm just going to get used to this, and you're not going to lose the weight after you plateau. So I was I started, losing all the weight, and I just could not get past where I was, and I still didn't like how I looked. And by that time, WWE had started using me. And I'd go there and I'd see all these girls, and I'm I look nothing like these girls. What the heck am I doing not doing that they're doing, other than the intense WWE workout? And then before my first Las Vegas trip to CAC, me and Cody-hawk, we did a bet on, we had a weight goals. And whoever, lost the bet, I don't remember what they had to do, but we ended up, dieting and all that, and we both tied. And, the day before Vegas, we both hit our weight goals. So whatever we had to do, we didn't have to do. But then I was still okay, now I'm at my body weight. How the heck do I get toned and get abs, or, do that kind of stuff? And so, I started using these ab workout machines at the gym and trying to figure out, but nothing was working. And then another trip to WWE, Triple H happened to be over by our group and talking to us. So I took the opportunity and I asked him, I told him what I was doing and, how can I, tone up? What was his advice? And he told me something that has stuck with me since that day. And it's that abs are made in the kitchen. That those workout machines at the gyms are pretty much only there for people who already have abs, or they're used to make your abs more defined. So you first have to get your body there before you can really get results with the ab machine. So that's kind of hit me, and I did an intense only egg diet for 2 weeks. Finished off everything I wanted to do, got to where I could start seeing abs, and then I started going to the gym and working that particular, area, and so then, started getting that and getting how I like my waist, and then I was but I'm not strong. I have no body, strength, upper body strength, and I didn't like that, so I just recently, I think it was December, because it was right after my surgery, when I came back from my surgery, I started boxing and getting that kind of a workout, and that has definitely helped with my upper body. So, diet, and it's just pretty much what you want to do, how much you're willing to put into it, how much you're willing to sacrifice. So that's, pretty much the only advice I have, well, all the advice I have for someone who's trying to, lose weight. Diet sucks, but it works.
Well, and that's real solid advice, because, there is no, as much as sometimes the fitness and nutrition industry would say otherwise, there really is no shortcut for hard work. You have to be willing to put the work in, and a big part of that work is, yes, some of it's in the gym, but a big part of it is in your meal prep and staying on point with your eating, and that's challenging for everybody. But, you've, not to overinflate an already overly inflated ego, SHAWNA REED, but I will say that you have crafted a very aesthetically pleasing, athletic physique at this point, and I applaud you because regardless of whether we are seeing eye to eye, I know that you have put a tremendous amount of hard work into achieving that goal, and you have. So, good on you. Bad on you for a lot of other things, which we'll get into here as we continue to talk, but good on you for that. But, you spoke about WWE appearing on WWE television. Something that a lot of people in the industry have longed for. Some have achieved it. Many have not. In your time within the business, through your own efforts and determination, you've had the great fortune of... How many times have you been called up by WWE to do work for them?
15.
So 15 times. That's unbelievable. So most folks are just begging for that one call, but you've had an opportunity to do stuff with them 15 different times. Talk about some of those experiences, some that really stick out on your mind, because obviously you've had an opportunity to work side by side with, some of the best talents imaginable.
Yeah, no, I've actually gotten to work for them, on 13 different loops. I was called up in the month of April for 3 different dates. Well, 2 different loops in April, but then it got shut down because of the coronavirus, so those 2 I didn't get to, unfortunately, do. But it's an amazing experience. I walked in there that first time. I'd only been in the business for 6 months when I got the first call for some reason. And I was, freaking out because I was a huge fan, and I was just, ugh. And, you go there and you're in the locker room and you're sharing the locker room with, people who were, your idols, people you look up to. And I remember going there the very first time, and I just sat and, kind of stood in catering and kind of just, stood in, the background because I didn't want to get in anybody's way. And, people are going and getting food, and Bailey comes over to me and, wraps her arm in my arm and links us together and says, "Come on, let's go get food." And I'm like, what? And so that happens, and, other, small things happen throughout throughout your experiences there, and you end up becoming and making lifelong friends with some of the people you used to look up to, and, now you have their phone numbers in your cell phone, and it's crazy. I've gotten to, do the No Way Jose conga line multiple times. I've been, in just, the back, just as, an extra body in the back a few times. And I've gotten to go places that I never would have, ever saw myself visiting if it wasn't for, some of these WWE loops. I went to LA for them, Arkansas, Milwaukee, I've been to, Minnesota quite a bunch. Wisconsin quite a bunch for them, Tennessee. I've done a bunch of Cincinnati loops, Michigan loops. I've done quite a bit of different places, and that in itself is very cool. So the production is amazing. It's something you've never seen. The catering is delicious. And then like I said, you just become friends with these people who you used to idolize, and I think sharing a locker room with Shawn Michaels, or sharing a locker room with John Cena, it's just really, really cool. And getting advice and becoming friends with legends like Devon Dudley, he's really kind of taken me under his wing. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I know you've spoken about Devon a few different times, and to have that kind of relationship with somebody that, if I'm not mistaken, I'm a huge fan of the Road Warriors, but technically I think that the Dudley Boys are the most decorated tag team in pro wrestling history, between the tag belts that they've won literally all over the globe. So that's a pretty good guy to have in your corner as a supporter and an advocate. But, just to paint an accurate picture here, Shawna, in regards to you doing work with WWE, just so people know that are listening, this